Oh, yes. Hitting me with the jingle bells. Merry Christmas, everyone. Welcome to SJHL Weekly. I'm your host, Clark Munroe. We have a great show for you today as we enter the Christmas season. It's our last episode before the break, and it just cuts.
Yeah. You gotta fade that out.
Get it out of here. Cut the music.
Look at Rory telling them how to do their job.
We're gonna get copyrights. No, it's okay. I'm your host, Clark Munroe. We have a great show for you today. We're here at the IKS Media Studios. Again, it is our last episode before Christmas, so we're going to have some fun today. We have a recap of the weekend that was. We're going to look ahead to the week that will be. We have Players of the Week to announce, and it's our annual SJHL Team Christmas Present Giveaway. Today, we're going to be giving each and every team a Christmas present. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thanks, Santa.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Thank you, Santa.
Is that Ryan
Appreciate
Baracca?
You might have been Ryan Baracca, for all I know. And we're going to be joined today by Ronge Ice Wolves goaltender Graham Brown as well. So we have a lot of fun coming up for you. Before we get too deep into this, let's make sure we thank our sponsors, though. Cantera Seeds, Borgo, Capital Auto Mall, Sask Lotteries, Chevrolet, Saskatchewan Construction Safety Association, Nutrien, Tourism Saskatchewan, Sask Energy, UPL, SGEU, Great Western, SGI, and RBC. Thanks to all of them. And thanks to the two gentlemen beside me, because we are going to bring the Christmas cheer today. We have Rory in his outfit, his ho-ho-ho outfit with the white Christmas hat. I love it. And Jamie Neugebauer, as we discussed before the show, looks like he's coming off a 3-year stint in the QMJHL as an owner coach of a team.
Yeah.
Jamie, what's your French name that we discussed before the show?
Jacques Neugebauer.
Jacques Neugebauer.
My kid is in Bantam. I need somewhere to get him to play in the junior. And none of these coaches see his talent.
He's the disgruntled coach, owner in the QMJHL that just, never makes the playoffs, but still never gets fired because he also owns the team.
Yeah.
But then he finds the magic of Christmas and somehow finds a lighter side to himself and turns the team around.
And then somehow owns a Christmas tree selling place.
Jacques Junior needs somewhere to play Major Junior. Okay.
There we go. Well, this show's off to a fantastic start. Let's, before we get started and have a look at the recap of the weekend, let's just make sure there's the recap of the weekend. I was just going to say, make sure to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. Hit the retweet buttons, hit the like and share buttons. Let's get it going. But let's have a look at Friday here. Estevan got a 5-3 win, a big comeback 5-3 win over the Melville Millionaires. Flin Flon kept their win streak going for the time being against Battlefords in Battlefords, 4-1. Nipawin had a great game against Laurent, 7-4. Some big numbers coming out of that one. Melfort snuck out with a 3-2 win over the Humboldt Broncos. And Weyburn impressed their Assiniboia fan base in Assiniboia, 3-0 with a shutout win over Kindersley. And then the next night, it seemed like all the results were completely flipped, except for Melfort Humboldt. But Melville got revenge on Estevan with a 2-0 shutout. Larange got revenge on Nipawin with a 3-0 shutout. Melfort kept their win streak going over the Broncos with a 5-2 win in Humboldt. Battleford's got their revenge with an overtime win against Flin Flon, ending their win streak. And Kindersley got their revenge in Assiniboia with a 4-2 win over Weyburn. So, guys, some really interesting stuff coming out of this weekend. Again, it was 4 series were split. So as the parity in this league continues, nobody gained any ground on anybody pretty much. No. So we'll have a look at the headlines here. We're going to start with, I'm going to say it as best I can here, Assiniboia. So obviously some big news from this past week. Weyburn Red Wings are in Assiniboia. They are now the Assiniboia Red Wings for the temporary time being, the short term. And guys, I'm just going to leave it up. I'm going to start with this. What a response from the community in Assiniboia, first and foremost. Jamie, can you tell us a little bit about some of the stuff that went down there?
Yeah, so basically over on Facebook, they put out a request asking for billets, as the whole Weyburn Red Wings organization, for the most part, was looking to move to Assiniboia and billet there. And with less than an hour, they got all the responses that they needed. They even needed to turn people aside and say, sorry, we're already taking care of about 6 or 7 more homes. People wanted to billet Red Wings players. The hockey community in this province never ceases to amaze me. So that's the biggest story for sure out of the week for me, is just well done, Assiniboia. And got traded to 2 good hockey games.
Yeah, and as per the report that we saw after the game, there was 35,000 people in attendance.
40,000 on Saturday.
40,000 on Saturday. Yes, Kelly, it is a vest. Thank you for noticing. It's not. It's more of a cardigan pullover. I'm making a bad Dumb and Dumber reference there. Hello from Weyburn, Chaotic Bro. Nice name, Chaotic Bro. Yes, the humble Broncos. Always tuning in from the Broncos office. There we go. So that's not Rory. So that's good to know.
No.
That would be amazing if it was.
Amazing. But yeah, no, guys, let's just sticking with the theme here with Assiniboia. Obviously, a great outing, or great support from the community. Awesome to see that. And then Weyburn got to treat them to a really nice game on Friday with a 3-0 win. I know some fans were there. Obviously, the 35,000 and 40,000 thing was a joke. I think that there might have been a typo on the report. But regardless, it's fun to talk about. And we all made a joke on our little group chat over the weekend that the game should have been played at Mosaic Stadium in Regina if there was that many people. Could have had an outdoor game. But let's talk about Weyburn and Kindersley first of all. Weyburn, again, splitting it so nobody gains any ground on anybody. That just kind of was a theme of the weekend.
Yeah, I mean, spoiler alert, in the Players of the Week, I wrote about, that'll come out in about 25 minutes on the SJHL.ca website. We'll talk about that. But spoiler alert, if there's a more dynamic individual than Ethan DK right now, I don't know who it is. And they needed him because of the injury issues that the Weyburn Red Wings have. They needed a big performance from Angelo Zoll, and they got it. A 33-save performance. Of course, this is the next day.
Yeah, this is the Saturday
to the
night.
highlights. But on the Friday night, they got that cool atmosphere there in Assiniboia. Beautiful rink, as you can see. IKS Media scoreboard, fellas. But yeah, hard to imagine a more hot and talented individual right now in the SJ than Ethan DK.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, 100%. First of all, I wanted to just mention what you mentioned again, that you just got to love the story and the way that the SJHL community stands up. And the community of Assiniboia, not only, just billets, but everyone to organize, because it takes a lot of volunteers, right? The teamwork put in, involved with on the side from the Weyburn community, because you know that there's going to be some season ticket holders that are upset that they can't get 4 games right in the Crescent Point Place. So they have to acknowledge that Weyburn's trying to get these games. There's a community that, is longing for a junior A hockey team, and now they get a chance to prove themselves. As for the quality on the ice, it's parity, but the Weyburn Red Wings are going to play some makeup here now and try to get back points which they weren't able to play throughout this stretch when they weren't able to get into Crescent Point Place. And now we're starting to see the Kindersley Clippers take on this daunting road mess that they have to do after playing so much home games and getting a split, even though in technically a neutral site game against the Weyburn Red Wings, who are so well rested. I think is still a testament to the Kindersley Clippers and just how hard they work, bounce back when not being able to score a goal in game 1 in order to secure the 2 points, and now leapfrog back up into a playoff spot. But again, you got to shout out Assiniboia. You got to shout out how quickly it came together, because they were supposed to go back into Crescent Point Place and then another leak, right? A second leak, and now it's a big panic. And this was just huge, the way everyone rallied together. It's the SJHL in a nutcracker shell.
I guess it begs the question, Rory, and we talked about this before the show and over the weekend as well. Is Assiniboia ready as a community to potentially house an SJHL team? A junior A team. They have a junior B team.
Yeah.
And we were actually, you mentioned the IKS Media score clock in there. We were actually part of the launch of this new building. It's brand new. It's a great facility. If you haven't been there or heard about it, they've got a golf simulator in there, a video game room, arcade.
Beautiful.
It's connected to a big community center with a big dance room and everything, a gym, all this kind of stuff. It's a great building. It's great for the community. And I mean, is community size-wise, does it match up to most of the communities in the SJ? It might be on the lower end in terms of size, but at the same time, it's a big farming community. There's lots of stuff kind of around there. It's close to Moose Jaw, so I don't know how that would work. I mean, there's teams close to Saskatoon, so would that be a thing?
You got to check off a lot of boxes.
Yeah.
First of all, so I'll just name some boxes, and you can see. But are they checked? Arena. Yeah.
Check.
A very, very large check mark in that box. It's a beautiful arena, as you mentioned and saw in Assiniboia. I'm going there on Thursday. I can't wait to see it, right? When the Broncos take on the Weyburn Red Wings. It'll be my first time. Population, they would be the smallest community in the SJHL. right, outside of Notre Dame, but that's a school, right? It's different being in a school. They are close to Moose Jaw. Corporate businesses, a big one, right? Because with a small community, are you going to be reliant on gate, or are you going to be reliant on very big corporate sponsorship in order to keep a team afloat? And, you know, every team in the league is community owned right now. Is that too far of a stretch? Does maybe Assiniboia need to be a privately owned team? Which is not against any guidelines, as far as we know, right?
No, it's just not common.
So they check off a lot of boxes, but there's a lot of things that maybe, you know, don't say it's an optimal place, but there's a lot of things that could make it an optimal place. Right. And that arena is first and foremost beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Gorgeous rink. Clark and I were kind of joking with the Weyburn broadcaster, Dylan Fiesel. They're going to have to try to get all the players to come back to Weyburn after, because it's just, they've got the games room and the arcade and just really, really nice. But yeah, the question is really that sustainability piece. Yeah. Yes, they could throw a bunch of money at it right now. Yes, they have the rink right. You know, they have interest from the community right now. Is it setting them up to fail in 3, 5, 8, 10 years if that's what they do? Obviously, another element that you didn't mention, Rory, is you need someone to move there or expand.
Correct.
And that's always a hot button topic. My understanding is that there's no interest from the SJHL to just simply expand and add a 13th team. So would there be a move from within the league to Assiniboia? That's probably a little bit more likely. Obviously, there's nothing imminent. But certainly, you know, I've actually got to call 3. I've called 2 games there now, 2 neutral site games there, and again, beautiful. They don't really have a press box. Hopefully, they would build something for the likes of you and me, the divas of the league who need to be taken care of.
Yes, we do.
But it was fine. Nice sight lines there up on the terrace. They put up a little table out there, and I'm sure they could figure that out. But certainly, it would be nice, but I don't see it being necessarily imminent right now, given all those things.
Fun to think about.
Another thing you look into, and I don't know what the study of this is called, but I'm sure there is, but is Assiniboia and the surrounding area, is that a growing area? Right? I don't know. You'd have to look back 10 years ago. What was the population? 5 years ago, 3 years ago. Right now, it's at about 2,500. It'd be a small community to house a junior A team, but is it growing? You know, 400 or 500 people. Again, I don't know the study of it. Yeah. It's got to have a word.
But I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, to me, the population of a place, I mean, that seems like it's an important indicator of business and longevity. Yeah, but it's whether there's, and you mentioned private ownership. The what talks? Money talks.
Yeah.
So if people are willing to commit long term, then I'm sure the league's board of governors, Kyle McIntyre, are willing to listen to any ideas people have. I know there are other markets around Saskatchewan that are certainly interested too. So we'll see what happens. But certainly you're going to love it on Thursday, Roy.
It's going to be a lot of fun. You are going to like it. I've been there as well. It's fantastic. Let's bring up the headlines. We'll move on to our second topic, and it is blown up. Now, I say this kind of tongue-in-cheek because the Flin Flon Bombers extended their win streak on Friday to 10 games and then lost in overtime to lose their win streak, but they still have a point streak going at 11 games, but they did lose their winning streak. It cut short at 10 games. But guys, the Flin Flon Bombers they blew up, but I say that, again, jokingly. It was an overtime loss to the Battlefords North Stars, a very good team in their own right. Nugsy, maybe I'll start with you on this one. Can you give us a little breakdown of maybe the weekend for Flin Flon? Yeah,
like we talked about it, I think, on the show last week, just from the Battlefords North Stars perspective. We can't figure this team out. Like, one week they're losing to Notre Dame, and the next week they're breaking streaks. It's the second time this year, too, by the way, that they've beaten a team that was on a very long winning streak or unbeaten run. Of course, back in, they beat Weyburn in Weyburn just to snap the Weyburn 14-game unbeaten run last month. So, yeah, certainly the Battlefords North Stars are capable. Big piece of that, of course, is Justin Merrick in net. When he's hot, he is as hot as anybody in the league. It's not at all like Flin Flon played poorly. That's pretty much all year. Whenever Flin Flon's lost, it's not that they've played poorly. It's just whether they got the bounce, whether they got the finish. Obviously, they're still waiting for Luke Lepper and Cohen Sempton, their head coach, Mike Reagan, to come back, and that's, you know, just over the horizon. And obviously, you know, teddy bear toss is always fun too. And nothing like a teddy bear toss to motivate a team in any game. But yeah, certainly, you know, Flin Flon put plenty of chances and plenty of shots. They outshot Battlefords badly over the 2 games. You know, 43-21 in the first game and 35-17 in the second game. So again, it wasn't like there was a lack of opportunity. But, you know, there's some sort of soul, there's some sort of heart and determination in this Battlefords team, fellas. We've seen it time and time again. that when the chips are down, it seems like they figure it out one way or the other by hook or by crook. They certainly have the team speed. They certainly have guys that can score like Ivashenko. Obviously, Ryland Williams is a guy who has played big games before and plays big games. Jackson Allen and Jordan Grill have been in the Centennial Cup. So again, they know what to do in the big moments and the big situations when the chips are down. And the Flin Flon Bombers, maybe as good as they've been, they're still trying to learn that perhaps. So, it was an interesting 2-game set. Really, both games could have gone Flin Flon's way, but Battleford's got terrific goaltending from Justin Merrick both nights, and that keeps you in it. But certainly, I don't think Mike Reagan's losing too much sleep over losing in overtime to Battleford.
No, and Rory, I'm going to throw this to you here because I have a question directly for you. As good as Flin Flon has been now, we see this loss, and I'm not worried about the loss, but do you think that this Flin Flon team is in a position where they might get a little bit aggressive here coming out of the Christmas break? Are we thinking that they're going to be a roster that might tinker? Because we haven't seen Mike Reagan do a ton this year. Obviously, Leighton Carruthers coming in.
Matthew Keeper.
Matthew Keeper obviously was a huge one for this win streak especially, but do you think that this is going to be an aggressive team this year at the deadline, or will they maybe stick with the
Don't forget Kyle Marsden.
Kyle Marsden, another 06 defenseman too.
Yeah.
I want to save a lot of my points because it does lead into my Christmas gifts.
Fair enough.
Into the third, but I'd be.
You can be
if
very
it goes both ways, I wouldn't really shock me because they have 8 20-year-olds right now, and I kind of looked through it. I don't know how you get rid of any of those 8 to bring in another 20-year-old. So now you're looking at bringing in either a 19 or an 18-year-old. Well, they got a good group of those guys too. So I know that you always want to make your team the best possible team, but you got your goaltender right now. You got your 20-year-old forward with a great deal of CHL experience. And then you got a big, strong defenseman who can button down the hatch. Yes, he's young, but he's an exceptional hockey player in Kyle Marsden. So that might be enough. But, I mean, if Mike Reagan makes 3 trades at the deadline, is anything going to shock us? No, it's not. It's just, I don't know. I really don't know what it is yet right now. It might be an experienced D-man, but if you want a 20-year-old D-man, well, one of your 20-year-olds is going to have to go out because you already have 8 of them. So I just don't know. But it's a great question, especially considering what they did last year at the deadline and obviously lost in the finals. But a lot of moves and a lot of changes. So it's something that fans back home can speculate. I know the Flin Flon Bombers like to get active and converse with each other, converse with other fans of other teams, and I'm sure they'll be having the same question: is what are we going to do at the deadline? Do we think we have enough? I just don't. I don't know how you really do it without you're having to get rid of someone, and you know what that's done in the past.
Yeah, and you don't like Mike Reagan last year. I think he learned a lesson. You don't want to make a move for the sake of making a move. Just because a guy who's a pretty good player is available, is he the right person? Is it the right situation? I think he's going to be very careful this year with that. The biggest thing for me is they got the goaltender. They do have 3 more games. Mike will get back, and those 3 games will have Mike Reagan's eyeballs, physically on them. I'm sure he was paying attention while he was busy with Hockey Canada stuff. But he'll have these 3 games, Nipawin and 2 against L'Orange coming up to really evaluate and figure things out. And then they'll have the Christmas break and set a strategy heading into the beginning of January. And they'll be interesting to see. But I don't see Flin Flon being very aggressive, but certainly if the right move came along, I'm sure Mike wouldn't say no.
It's so wild that we love the year that we're having, right? We love the parity in the SJHL. It's 35 points for second place. It's 29 points for 9th place. Yeah. Right? 5 points or 6 points separate that. Mm-hmm. In a year like this, we're going to be like, oh my God, it's an arms race. Right? Everyone needs to get better. Everyone needs to get better. But then how? Because you've been this good to be in the parity. Right. You've had the good team to be 3rd place like Flin Flon and overcome that start. To be Battleford to have a 1 goal differential, but be in 2nd place and leading your division. Right? Do you want to change a lot and risk it? And we know that it makes it hard to do it from in-league, but let's not, fool ourselves. There's a lot of players outside of the SJHL that coming into the league can find a new role, can gel with teammates and become absolute superstars down the second half. So trades can 100% still happen from out of leagues, but it's more about how much do you want to tinker knowing the parity and not wanting to break kind of something in a dressing room or not wanting to throw off the chemistry on the ice, even though making a trade to make a trade not the right thing. But if you could make a trade and get that extra edge, are you willing to take that risk?
Yeah.
And that's the interesting part to me for the trade deadline.
And as quickly as you can move up the standings with the parity,
You can
the way
fall
that it is,
down, man.
you can also
You can
fall
fall
down.
down.
So there is that argument as
Yeah.
well. Let's keep moving here, guys, as we bring back the headlines here. We look at point number 3, which we've kind of talked about a little bit, but let's talk about the other 2 that we haven't talked about. Split-tastic. And that is because 4 of the 5 series this weekend split. We talked about the parity a lot. Estevan and Melville split, and Nipawin and Larange both split. So Larange has not gained any ground. Estevan has not gained any ground on their fight back into the playoff push, et cetera, et cetera. Melville hasn't been able to get their footing back quite as much as they probably wish they would have. So guys, I guess we don't have to stay too long on this one because we've kind of already touched on it. But the parity, the splits, how hard it is to gain ground in this league. We kind of just talked about it with the trade stuff, like who's trading with who, like who are you getting? So I guess just touch on whatever you want to touch on with that point. Rory, maybe I'll start with you.
Bring up the standings right now,
Yeah,
because this is what 2 losses will do against the split. The Humboldt Broncos were in 6th place,
Yep.
a chance to win one of those games and jump into 4th place in the SJHL. 3 splits, Melville, Larange, Kindersley, all split, all leapfrogged Humboldt and pushed them out of the playoffs. That's what a split will do.
Yeah.
So it can move you up if a team doesn't win both games. Obviously, if a team wins both games, Humboldt would have been higher up. But you lose both games and everyone else splits, now you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely wild.
Yeah, it's insane, and we talk about it every single week. But it's like every week we're planning the show, and we're like, okay, what are we going to talk about this week? And the thing that keeps popping up is the standings are just insane, and it's like we can't avoid it because it's just like that's the biggest thing every single week is just like how much movement there is within an 8 or 9 team window. But they're all just kind of bouncing each other up and down every single week. It's crazy.
And I think a big reason for that is, and I'm sure there's a bunch of coaches in our league that are getting their hairlines heading towards mine in this area of how do we get our guys to play 60 minutes one day and then 60 minutes the next day. How do we
I've seen it point blank.
How do we get?
I've seen it.
How do we get consistency, right? I mean, like I went with Jacob to Estevan to watch Estevan Melville on Friday, and for 40 minutes, like it was a listless performance. No disrespect to the Estevan Bruins, they were listless on Friday. And then in the 3rd period, 2-1, they get a few power plays, bing, bang, boom. All of a sudden, feels like it's 2022 all of a sudden in Estevan. The place is going nuts, yada, yada, yada. And then the next time, and obviously Ben Lorette comes in and plays for Melville, his first game there in Melville, and it's back to Doug Johnson hockey, and it's no chances either way. And Estevan has 1 chance in the house the whole game, and it's gritty, and it's classic Melville Estevan, and it's not end-to-end by any stretch, and it's a 2-0 hockey game for Melville, which is the way the Mills, really as a group want to play, especially since who left. That's what the Melville Millionaires kind of want to do, is make it a gritty, grimy game. Like kind of last year we talked about, how they just kind of hung on in games a lot. And Jason Tatarnic, he's trying to get his guys to play the way that they can, the way he knows they can. I don't know how you do it. They've got a good enough roster there in Estevan, especially their D-core, led by the likes of Kieran Ronan, to me, still a top 5 D-man in this league. And, it's a situation where it's not just Estevan, it's Melville, it's Larange. Obviously, Nipawin is a young team, and you expect inconsistency guys with young teams. You think about Notre Dame, too. You throw them at Humboldt for sure. Can't get them to play the same way, not just 60 minutes to 60 minutes, but period to period.
Yeah.
And I don't know what the reason is per se, but that inconsistency is keeping the parity as it is.
Well, speaking of Humboldt, Rory, the only series that didn't split this weekend, Humboldt and Melfort. Do you want to just maybe touch on that series really quick?
Yeah, sure. Close game where Humboldt felt like it slipped away from them on Friday in Melfort, having a 2-0 lead after the first period, really taking it to it, kind of shocking Melfort and pushing them into a team where they just looked kind of sloppy. And I don't know if it was Humboldt with their aggressive forecheck making it do that to Melfort, or if Melfort were just having an off period. But over the course, you could see Melfort and just their maturity and their age and their structure and their calmness and their simplicity, everything that you love for a playoff-built team is the Melfort Mustangs right now. They're the oldest team I've seen in this league since I've moved here, with I think an average age of 19.5 or something crazy high, right? They are 19 and 20 years old. They know exactly what to do. And that's really, really hard to beat. And that is why they're on this winning streak, right? They're not blowing teams out. They're finding ways to win in very different hockey games. The most incredible stat that I've seen is for the Melfort Mustangs this season, and they're 12-0 in 1-goal games. Do you know how hard that is to do? In a game that ends with a score of 1, Melfort wins every one of them.
Yeah.
That is just a mature level and a structure level that I don't know really how to contend with once it's playoffs, because those are 1-goal games and Melfort knows how to win them. The one thing I'll say, though, is a knock against the Melfort Mustangs is you were talking about the trade deadline, and do they need to get scarier?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, when you played the Flin Flon Bombers last year, and I know they didn't win the finals. I know maybe this isn't the entire recipe. They had too much of it for playoff success and championship success. But you played the Flin Flon Bombers, and you were almost like, oh God, hold on, right? Like, it was a ride, and you didn't, like, you roller coaster. And if you let go, you were tossed out of the arena, right?
Yeah.
Melfort structures you to death, and they will beat you by being so mature and so strong, which will lead to potential championships. But do they need that scare factor? Do they need one, like a guy that just, another Riley Cote who when he's going off, he's going off. But other than that, they got to win 1-goal games, and we know the 1-goal games can sometimes go the other way. They just haven't yet.
Pardon me, but the counterpoint to that, Rory, is that they've been doing it all year.
100%.
So it's not like a recent thing. It's like they've been as dominant, if not more dominant, than Flin Flon last year. Just doing it a different way.
Very different way. Very different way.
So just because it's different doesn't mean it's not as good or less successful or
not saying that at all.
Well, no, I know, but I'm just saying Trevor Blevins has to be the most careful coach in the SJHL, because the integrity of that locker room, the standards that are demanded in that Melfort locker room right now are second to none in this league.
Yeah.
They cannot make that in danger in any way. They had 12 guys. You talk about how old they are. You can be old. I'm 30, however old I am, 7. Doesn't mean I'm good at hockey.
27.
But not only that, but they have 12 guys who were part of that run last year.
Yeah.
They're
They
pretty
know
much
what they're
their whole decor, so they're very experienced 19, 20-year-olds. You can be 20 and for example, I think about Marko Djordjevic for Notre Dame, very good player, having a great year, but he's been injured a lot over his junior career. So there's that element to it. These guys have not been injured. They've been playing. You throw a healthy Zach Summers, sprinkle a little bit of that on top of it. The more he plays, the more he'll get comfortable too.
Yeah.
It's a scary Melfort team.
They're one of the most complete and structured teams I've seen, and that is all positive to them. I'll just ask 2 questions before we wrap it up, or one more headline.
Yeah.
What if Melfort won the championship without acquiring Clay Sleva last year?
Probably not, no. I'm going to say no.
You can say no. Like what have they? Was he that imperative to that championship one? If you argue yes or no, you're not wrong, I guess. But it's hard not to say that they maybe not would have beat Flin Flon without him.
Yeah.
Or Humboldt even. He was that good.
I think, he was probably better even against Humboldt than he was against.
So my second question, does Trevor Blevins have any inkling of stress with how many 1-goal games they're playing? Or is he fine with the way that they are just buttoning down the hatch?
I'm sure as he's been around this business so long that he's not looking at it big picture. He's taking it, how do we win tomorrow? And that's all that matters.
Well, what do you do at a trade deadline when you're looking at how do you win tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about Flin Flon and their 20-year-old issue. A lot of teams have sort of 20-year-old issues at the top right now. He's not going to do anything that's going to jeopardize the heart and the core of the structure of this team.
And they might be done with Ashton Paul just being acquired recently too. They might be done.
If anything falls in their lap, but they can take I don't know if we can call it flyer on Ashton Paul, because we know how talented he can be, but they can put a guy who's maybe offense, for leaning like Ashton Paul, who's skill leaning like Ashton Paul, into that group, and you say, are they going to do anything? Well, maybe, you said maybe they did it with Ashton Paul.
They might have.
So,
and if there's a coach around the league that I wouldn't be surprised if he's done adding, it's Trevor Blevins.
Yeah, I don't know what he needs. I don't think he needs to do anything.
He finishes early and he lets his team ride. And,
he gets Nolan Dole a couple of years ago, right? Clay Sleva. He's usually the big splash.
Danton Cox and Logan Cox fell into his lap for nothing.
That probably also helped. Yeah, exactly. Let's while we're talking about Melfort, before we get to the 4th headline here, let's look at the highlight of the week here for Tourism Saskatchewan, because it was by a Melfort Mustang, Ashton Hutchinson. He's all over the headlines this week, by the way. But let's have a look at the highlight of the week now.
Emerald, maybe a 2-on-1 shorthanded. Emerald James fires and rides it off a leg and wide. Back off the bounce. Here come the Mustangs. Cordy trying to hustle back. Wide is Hutchinson. Cuts to the slot. In, down low with a pass. Ack in front. Shot scores. A highlight reel given goal by the Melfort Mustangs on the power play, and it's 2-0.
Rory, you called it a highlight reel goal. That was a wild goal.
Washer machine there.
Yeah,
Bunch
a
of
little bit
pirouettes by the Broncos in front of the net.
Yeah, they've been watching a little bit of the
You
Mighty
got to
Ducks.
give them Mustangs credit.
That was a nice move, man. That was a nice move.
I'm surprised you didn't say woo, 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 Kenny woo, like the old Mighty Ducks spinorama move there. Okay, let's move on to our fourth headline, and we'll get this going here. This one, half-seas. It's halfway through the season, everybody. If you can believe it, we're pretty much there for every single team. So, guys, we're looking at a couple of just quick hitters here.
Yeah,
basically.
rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
Rory's
but, like,
rapid fire. Clark's rapid fire.
Yeah, more or less. We're not going to go team by team, but let's go. Who have you been most impressed with? Who are you a little disappointed in? I think that's the two that we're going to go with. Impressed and disappointed. Nugsy, I'll start with you at the end of the table there.
What team has impressed the most, I would say, is the Ronge Ice Wolves. Just how they can beat anybody on a given night with the way that they play. What team has disappointed me? I don't know who's disappointed me. Yeah, I mean, again, when I walked into Affinity Place, Jason Detarnik joked, and he always likes to joke. He said, "Be careful, Noobsy. We saw what you wrote in the power rankings. You're gonna get jumped." And obviously, he was joking.
Yeah,
but
in a way, he wasn't.
But I can. Well, no, but
Right, Jason?
no.
In
That's
a way.
fine. I just continue to be disappointed based on the roster that Estevan, I believe has.
Yeah.
That they should just be winning more often. I think they're better than they have shown in terms of their record. They've played good hockey lots of times and haven't won, but I think they're a better roster than they are. So I guess Larange is the impress, and Estevan's the maybe disappointed.
Right.
Yeah, the only way to do this is by going back to our preseason show.
Right.
And kind of where we had the risers and fallers for me, right? And the two are the top two teams. I know it's cliche, but the Melfort Mustangs, the fact that they're 12-0 in one-goal games is one of the most impressive stats I've ever seen. To be undefeated in one-goal games for 12 of them, not for 4 of them, right?
Yeah.
Is so impressive that they're this mature and this structured and this sound and that hard to beat. And then the one that's disappointing are the two teams that we both had higher, and they're not right now. I thought Kindersley Clippers would have a better start throughout the first half, seeing how much home games they played, and with the second year of Clayton Jardine, and with the, I know they lost some high talented players, but just how hard they work. And the Humboldt Broncos, we all know are just underperforming right now.
Yeah.
I know they're one game above 500, but we all had them higher. We all had them winning the division. They're 4 points behind it right now and out of the playoffs. So Kindersley and Humboldt disappointing. Melfort Battleford's impressing.
Yeah, big honorable mention for impressive with the Battleford's North.
I was going to say, if I had to pick one, it would be Battleford, simply because I had them probably hovering around the 6th to 8th spot in the playoff race, and now again, the parity the way that it is, they could end up in 6th to 8th spot by January 10th. But at the same time, as of right now, they're not, and they're still finding ways to win games. They're going to overtimes. They're doing their thing. So it's going really well in Battleford. So they would be my team if I were to pick one that's impressive. Nugsy, let's get into Nugs and notes here.
It's news and notes, news and notes, news and notes.
I was kind of hoping they might have gotten him a little bit of a Santa outfit.
There's a mini Jimmy and Neugebauer.
Jacques Neugebauer.
I was way off.
He's the head coach, GM, and owner of the Victoriaville Tigre.
Yeah, there you go.
All right, news and notes. Real quick here, because we don't want to keep Graham Brown waiting, I should say. The Junior A World Challenge, let's start that again.
Yeah,
Junior
again.
A World Challenge is over on Sunday, which was yesterday. Did a wonderful job beating Canada East. The Canada West team did. Let's get the quote up with the picture there. You see Mike Reagan's quote, and the one that I really want to highlight, part of it is a lot of people will look at the round robin and wonder what happened, but at the end of the day, I thought our guys played a heck of a game in the semis against the Swedes. A lot of potential first and second round NHL draft picks on Sweden. Wasn't indicative of the game. He's right. And then today they showed up with their best effort. Got a great goaltending performance from Ben Coots and Cohen Senft, of course, of the Flin Flon Bombers, fellas. The 2-goal performance and the player of the game. And I think about this team, Canada West scored 8 goals in the whole tournament, 4 of them from SJHLers. I'm not good at math, Rory. That's what percentage of goals?
50.
50% of the goals.
50.
23-man roster, 17% of them were SJHLers. So get more SJHLers on the team next year if it exists. Please. But certainly, Mike, I talked to him a little bit over text, and he was very pleased with the group that they were able to figure it out. You wanted to say something?
Well, I blew a perfect opportunity to pull a Greg Stink there and be like, I have no idea.
What's happening?
What's
Forward of
happening?
80s.
I don't know. And then also, that's back-to-back years now that in the medal game, a player of the head coach's team had a multi-goal game. Last year with Matthew Van Blaerkom and Scott Barney. Yeah. This year, Mike Reagan and Cohen Seft.
Yeah.
Just a little fun fact.
That's right. So extremely proud of all 6 of those gents. Obviously, Connor Miller of Humboldt, Luke Lepper of Flin Flon, who was also a player of the game, also scored a goal. Cohen Seft and Jackson Herchak, of course, of the Kindersley Clippers. And then Carter Hansen, the assistant coach of the Humboldt Broncos.
Did he score a goal?
I'm sure Carter would have scored a bunch, probably. If
No, he probably wouldn't have.
He would.
He would have blocked 20 shots and stayed home D-man.
But anyways, and then just the hockey IQ, right? The hockey IQ. And then obviously Mike Reagan, the head coach. We're really proud of all of those guys and really proud of Canada West for bringing home a bronze after a very tough group stage, as Mike was saying there. All right, 2 quick moves. Guess we could say there was the roster freeze on, like I guess a week ago, something like that. But there were 2 additions to the roster. We can announce that Luke Schrader, the former Kindersley Clipper, is joining the Weyburn Red Wings from the West Kelowna Warriors of the BCHL. That has been approved. He will expecting to be in the Weyburn lineup very soon. He was in Kindersley last year. And the Hounds did bring in Ethan Hamilton, former Grand Prairie Storm man, allowed to bring him in after the trade freeze because he's a free agent. He was totally cut by the Grand Prairie Storm. And so the Hounds brought him in, and I picked him up from the airport yesterday.
There you go.
So I know for sure that he's in Wilcox. He wanted to jump right on the ice and practice. We went from the airport to Walmart to the rink, and he got his gear going, and he practiced because the guys were already on the ice practicing, and he just jumped right in. The guys were like, who is that guy? So that was kind of funny. And then the last thing, Game of the Month is coming up this week. Cannot wait. SaskTalk Game of the Month. Nick Nielsen, the former Weyburn Red Wings and Kindersley Clippers broadcaster, currently the voice of the Prince Albert Raiders. He will be calling it. I'll be doing color. And Sean Mullen, the one-time voice of the Swift Current Broncos, did a lot of things with HN Live. Pardon me, he'll be doing the hosting. A lot of people were like, where's Rory? Why isn't Rory calling?
I'll be there soon.
Rory will be back.
I'm in the middle of a 3-3 down south, so can't leave the Broncos to go up in Nipawin, and I won't have a ride to get to Nipawin. So the next 3 games I'll be there. But
You're
this
in good
one,
hands, folks.
Nick will have an awesome call for December 20th. 100%.
You're in good hands, folks.
Yeah, and I can pick his brain about how Vinny Palmerine is doing.
True.
Even though he hasn't gotten into the lineup yet for the PA Raiders, but hopefully very soon. But anyways, can't wait for that Friday night. If you see us in Nipawin, make sure you say hello, and definitely be heading to the the Dam Smokehouse there in Nipawin, the barbecue place in Nipawin. Very excited about that. So Game of the Month, make sure you tune in on SaskTel TV Local.
Awesome. There you go. There's Nugs and Notes. Big shout out to Chevrolet for all of our highlight packages. And Nugsy, I'm going to get you to send a text message to our guest, Graham Brown, so we can get him logged in and ready to go, because he's our guest after the break from the Ronge Ice Wolves. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Your new truck trade-up has arrived at Capital GMC. Volume pricing is back. As inventory levels go up, prices come way down. And right now, we have over 250 brand new GMC Sierras to choose from. Lease a Crew Cab 4x4 Pro Edition for only $269 bi-weekly plus tax with $0 down. Or work with our finance experts to get the best available rates. Plus, GM certified pre-owned inventory is back too. Shop over 150 vehicles, all makes, all models. It's finally time for your new truck trade-up, only at Capital GMC.
Each year, the SCSA issues over 10,000 training certificates to the construction professionals who build our province. That's the population of Martinsville. Learn more at scsaonline.ca.
Saskatchewan's far north is where the land itself inspires. It's the beauty and power of wilderness, the solitude of a place far removed from what you might know. When this landscape surrounds you, it's like nothing else. Come and let it awaken you, energize you. Come and create your story in our Northern Lights and Waterways. Saskatchewan.
In a year where Amazon sold its first book, Alanis topped the charts, and the Frappuccino became cool, we were there. Trusted by the Saskatchewan construction industry since 1995. Learn more at scsaonline.ca.
As a student, things can pile up fast. Ouch. But the RBC Student Banking Bundle makes back to school easier with up to $275 in value. That's a whole pile of takeout.
Introducing SaskTel Student Saving Tips. Tip number 138. You could build your own pallet furniture.
So you're living on your own. You gotta save money by building furniture with pallets.
Or get Infinite 150 for only $50 a month with SaskTel Student Deals.
Increase your home comfort with high-efficiency natural gas equipment. Sask Energy offers rebates so you can lower your energy use and save money. For a list of rebates, contact a participating network member or visit saskenergy.com.
Original 16. Celebrate things done well.
Ooh, welcome.
Oh,
yes, right.
Are you listening? In the lane, snow is glistening.
Isn't it wonderful, guys?
Is that buble?
That's your favorite. That's Rory's favorite beverage.
I love bubbly.
Yeah.
Delicious. I mean, disgusting.
I have like 6 a day.
I'm a big bubbly fan.
I hate bubbly.
I'm a big bubbly fan.
Disgusting.
Before we get to our guest, I just want to bring up one of the comments on our Facebook feed because it's like, I think you could write a movie about this comment. It's from Nicole Gagnon. I think she's a Broncos fan. And it's, we've been biding our time, training hard, and see, you can't even read it. It's such a long comment. Sharpening our skills, waiting for the perfect moment to charge. There's an energy brewing beneath the surface, a fire in our hearts that's about to ignite. When the puck drops, we'll unleash our speed, power, and determination, storming the ice with the untamed spirit of Broncos running free. Opponents won't know what hit them. We're not just here to compete, we're here to dominate. The wait is over, and the wild Broncos are ready to run. Go Broncos. I said, you can write a movie about that.
I hope Braden Klamosko was taking notes.
Yeah, Braden, honestly, just take that comment and say it,
word for word.
Put it on the wall in the dressing room.
I honestly think you could read that thing to the pace of "'Twas the Night Before Christmas."
Oh.
It sounded like, maybe not, but...
Yeah, no, you could. We'll do it in the commercial break.
Okay,
we'll test it out and see how it goes. But let's get to our guest now. Graham Brown of the Ronge Ice Wolves joins us, goaltender. Graham, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you a lot for having me, guys.
Absolutely. Graham, you've kind of stormed into the league. We've talked about Larange a lot over the past couple of years. It always seems like they bring somebody in every year who has an immediate impact. Oftentimes it's been a goaltender. Obviously, we weren't around, but Topher Chirico a couple of years ago came in and did something really great there. Yourself now this year with Logan Falk as well. But can you just talk about your transition to the SJHL and what it's been like for you?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I played Junior B back home last year in Victoria. And obviously that was great coming off of a U18 year. So yeah, I think that was kind of like a good almost buffer to get into the SJHL. So yeah, I mean, the SJ's been great so far. I've really enjoyed it. I got great teammates, great coaches, and obviously the community up here in Larange is really good as well. So it's been all good so far.
Larange has had some pretty solid goaltending over the past couple of years, and yourself now and Logan are both top, in the numbers across the league. What's it been like playing with Logan, and what was he like as a kind of a mentor bringing you in? Because he's been in the league for a few years now.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I mean, he's been great so far. Obviously, a veteran goaltender in the league, so it's been pretty cool being able to learn a lot of stuff from him and kind of take little things from his game. So yeah, like obviously at practice, obviously Killers mentioned it before, like we always battle, and it's always good to have that compete between each other. So yeah, it's been good so far.
Speaking of you guys battling, I'm not sure how much you knew about Logan or have learned about Logan. You said you learned little things here and there. Last year, Logan got into a fight with another goaltender in the league, Kenneth Marquardt up in Flin Flon. Has he talked to you about that? And have you guys shared any goalie fighting tips by chance?
Yeah, we've definitely talked about it. Yeah, I've seen the video, which was pretty cool. But yeah, like we haven't really done much practice, but you know, always gotta brush up on the punching skills and stuff. So
yeah, well, between him and your coach, I think you have some good tips at hand. I think if you ever need a hand with anything.
Gotta be ready. Gotta be ready. You know?
Don't do it. You get suspended for 5 games. Yeah. You cross center ice and you get how are you supposed to fight the other goaltender without crossing center ice? So don't even do it.
But as the hyenas in Lion King and Phoebe Buffay and Friends say, always be prepared.
Always be prepared. All we're saying, we're not condoning anything, by the way, Graham. We're not saying do it.
Clark is condoning things. Rory and I are not.
Stop it.
All right. Fight a defenseman in your own zone, then you don't get suspended 5 games. Like don't cross center ice.
You just get people get viral on YouTube. Yeah. We're just yelling at you right now. We're not actually asking you questions. Graham, I got to ask you about goaltending at the Mel. I know people talk about the scoring chances, the angles, and the fact that the ice is small there in L'Orange, but do you like it? Is it something that you just kind of deal with? How do you view it?
It was definitely a big adjustment at first. I mean, it's tough. Like guys will walk over the red line and they're basically right in the zone, able to rip a shot from anywhere. So it's definitely tough stopping those shots there further out because really they're just closer in. But yeah, it's been a good adjustment. Like I'm definitely used to it now. So yeah.
Graham, no Christmas sweater for tonight's show. Did Nugsy not give you the memo, or?
Unfortunately, he did not.
Get the memo
I didn't have time to grab one.
I'm joking. I want to actually piggyback off what Nugsy said too, because I had a couple questions just about that ice surface for a goaltender coming in. I'm not too familiar about prior when you played Junior B and the rinks that you were accustomed to, but in the attacking zone, you mentioned, right, a guy can walk across center and basically have a good opportunity at a shot. Are there things for a goaltender in L'Orange that you have to do differently or just angle differently that you don't have to do in other arenas in the SJHL? And is that difficult to go back and forth? Always wanting to be in the position that you're used to and being taught to do, but does it change in L'Orange and then change when you go on the road?
I'd say it changes a little bit. Definitely if you're playing in Notre Dame on the really big ice surface. But yeah, like going from kind of the Mel to say Melville or something like that, where the rink's regular size, it's not too much of an adjustment. But yeah, you definitely got to be quicker in the Mel. You got to be ready for shots from everywhere.
Was it nerve-wracking at all, kind of getting your first skate in there, and then maybe first preseason game and first game, knowing that like, oh man, like I'm going to face 50 shots a game in this arena? Or was that exciting?
Sure. Yeah, it's definitely a little scary when you get in there first, but you get used to it eventually. So.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously, again, you practice there. Maybe you have a bit of an advantage even in that way over maybe the goalie on the other side because they don't practice there. So there's that element. Just talk about the belief and the leadership in this L'Orange team. I know, some people maybe were a little bit down on the team to start the year. Not us. We really liked your group, but you guys continue to beat anybody on a night. Where does that kind of determination come from? Talk about the leadership of Ryland Silzer and Mason Buchert and these guys who've been around a long time.
Yeah, I mean, all those guys, they lead by example. They're always working hard. They always got a good attitude. And obviously they take after the coaches as well. We have great, obviously Killer and Schneids are great coaches. They teach us well in practice. They make sure we work hard. So yeah, like Fuzzy, like Silzer, Jake Cassette, Ukes and Cole Thomas, like they're all amazing leaders. And I think it all starts in practice when they're making sure we're working hard, keeping us honest and all that stuff.
We've had a lot of goaltenders in the SJHL that may not be the prototypical, if you want to call it that, height, right? And I couldn't care less. I look at a goaltender and I see this guy stops the puck. He gets in the way, he stops the puck, he makes life miserable on the teams that are trying to score against him. They can't score against him. I don't care how tall he is. But throughout your career, I can only imagine that you've had, your battles, your, naysayers, if I may. What does it take for a small goaltender to kind of shake that off, right? Because I don't play goaltender, I don't know. And then some guy could be 6'4" and get all the opportunity, but he might not be as good as you are, right? So how do you shake that off? And then what does it mean to you to maybe be a role model in Junior A, in the SJHL, in the Ronge, to another goaltender that just might be a little shorter than everyone else, but hey, he's got skill?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, obviously being shorter, you got to be quick. You got to be able to keep up with those guys who are 6'5" and maybe don't have to move as far across the net. But you know, it's all noise. You just got to keep it out of your head and just keep working. And that's kind of been something I've been taught from when I was younger from my mom and dad. Just put your head down, keep working, and you'll get the opportunities eventually. So.
Yeah, for sure. And then just the last question for me, you know, pretty similar to that one. You know, again, there's all sorts of paths to the SJ. There's all sorts of paths to college and to where you want to go. But I guess just how big is the chip on your shoulder, or is it a thing where you're a guy where you just block out the noise, or these things are all fuel to you, or I guess where does the mental aspect of a Graham Brown that, you know, honestly I've watched you play, man, and like you could face 40, 50 shots and doesn't matter to you, and you're the same, seem like you bring that same effort, or like 15, 20 shots, again, doesn't matter. You bring that same effort. So, you know, where does that come from inside of you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously just coming from a work ethic, you know, you gotta forget about all the noise. You try and tune it out, and that's what I've tried to do. I work with a mental performance coach back home, and he's been great. Just kind of giving me different tools to tune out the noise and just put your head down and work hard, and it'll come to you eventually.
You know, I know it's your first year in the SJHL, but, you know, you come into a year where it has this much parity, right? And this crazy squeeze on second to ninth. And it's never been, I've been here for this is my sixth or seventh season, I can't even remember. But it's never been this tight before since I've been here. I know you're the goaltender, so you already, you know, you probably feel more pressure than some players game in and game out. But how is it like coming into the league and it's just like this, where you're like, man, you know, you win a game, it almost means more. You lose a game and you know the areas where you could have won it. And it just feels like there's that much more weight. Just is it fun to be a goaltender in a league where it's just this crazy? Because even a broadcaster, you lose a game and you're like, oh, we're done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it keeps you on your toes. It's always a lot of fun. It kind of feels like every game's a playoff game at this point, just because it's so close from whatever it is, second to ninth.
Yeah.
So yeah, like every game right now feels like a playoff game. You gotta be ready, because any team can beat any team in this league now. So.
Just a quick comment from me before Rory does his thing, and I don't want to take his thunder. But congratulations on your first career SJHL shutout. Must have felt good. Just quickly, don't give guys credit on your team. Take some credit yourself, for crying out loud.
Thank you very much. Yeah, no, it was a good game. The boys definitely responded after that tough night on Friday. So yeah, like I was super happy with the way we played. Boys were blocking shots like crazy. You know, we kept them to 20 shots, which is pretty good. So can't complain about that. But yeah, it was fun. It was a good experience, good game. So yeah.
Just once, we're gonna hear a goalie say, "I'd like to thank myself for all the work I put in." No, it's never gonna happen.
I'm just kidding.
Rory, you're up.
All right, Graham, I know you're new to the league, but you might have seen the show before. It is time for Rory's Rapid Round, presented by Elkridge Resort. We're going all Christmas related for you, Graham, if that's okay. It is our final show before the Christmas break, so we're gonna keep it red and green for Graham Brown. Your favorite Christmas dish at Christmas supper?
Oof. Gotta be turkey. Can't go wrong with the turkey.
See, yeah. Nugsy said the same thing. Are you a dark meat or a white meat? Do you like the leg or do you like the breast?
I'm a white meat guy for sure.
Okay, Nugsy goes
gross.
Drumstick. He's all dark meat.
I hate turkey white meat, and I love turkey dark meat.
Favorite Christmas movie?
Oh. Got to be the Grinch. Got to go classic on that one.
Jim Carrey style or animated?
Jim Carrey.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good answer.
Oh, yeah.
Good answer. What song, it could be a regular song or it could be a Christmas song if you want to, would you absolutely crush at a Christmas karaoke party?
Oh. See, that's a tough one. Like, I'm not very good at karaoke, so I don't know. I'd probably choose one of Michael Bublé's. Can't go wrong with that.
We just had that coming in.
Sure but, oh, look at that. There you go.
Yes.
We had that coming into this segment. It was a Holly Jolly Christmas, I think.
Yeah, we're going to get all sorts of copyright strikes on it.
Yeah, but you can never go wrong with a Bublé, 100%.
Exactly.
Is there one unique way that your family celebrates Christmas? And it can be really anything. The time you open presents, something in the food, some game you play. Is there a unique way that that you guys have always celebrated it?
I wouldn't say super unique, but we obviously have our routines. Like every year we do pretty much the exact same thing. So we have certain things to do that we do on the 24th and then the 25th as well. So yeah, I mean, we're always with the rest of our long extended family. So it's nice to see everyone.
Which one of your teammates would pick out the best Secret Santa gift for you?
Oh, I gotta go Falker. Gotta go Falker on that for sure.
He knows you. Would he pick you as the player who would pick out the best Secret Santa for him?
I don't know. It'd probably be tough. Like you got guys like Cole Thomas who would probably give a good gift as well. So I don't know.
And I know the break's coming up soon for you guys as well, soon for everyone in the league. And I know everyone looks forward to seeing family, seeing friends, and taking that time off. So finish this sentence. It's the last one. It's not Christmas without.
Well, without family. Gotta be without family.
Love
There
it.
you go.
Appreciate it, Graham.
Rory's Rapid Round, presented by Elk Ridge. Last one for you, Graham, and then we'll let you go. This is kind of just as we go. You got 2 games left against the Flin Flon Bombers here before the break. What's the message in the room right now for the boys?
Just work hard. We're working hard in practice this week. We had a good practice this morning, so I think we'll be ready for the 2 games this weekend, and then we'll have a good Christmas.
There you go. Graham, thanks so much for joining us today. Say hi to the fellas for us, and best of luck going forward. Maybe we'll talk to you down the road.
Thank you very much, guys. Appreciate it.
There you go. Graham Brown of the Ronge Ice Wolves. Great chat there. I find we've only had one goalie, and I'm not going to name him, that wasn't a really good interview. They were always good interviews.
Goaltenders are
usually good, yeah. And what is it about Larange goalies that are terrific? I think probably the best interview we've had was Dawson Smith.
Dawson Smith last year.
Larange Ice Wolves years ago. So.
That was 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Was it not?
Or was he last year?
I think it was 2 years ago.
Fair enough. Okay, we'll go with that. Let's have a quick break. When we come back, we're announcing Players of the Week. We have our Christmas presents to give out and a little bit more. So stay tuned until after the break.
The Chevrolet Silverado 1500. Advanced power and capability to tackle the long hauls. Style to make a statement on the streets. Visit ChevroletOffers.ca to learn more.
Each year, the SCSA issues over 10,000 training certificates to the construction professionals who build our province. That is the same population as Weyburn. Learn more at scsaonline.ca.
When you buy a lottery ticket in Saskatchewan, your money really goes a long way. More than 12,000 sport, culture, and recreation groups receive funding from Sask Lotteries every year. Everyone wins.
My name is Kyle McIntyre, and I'm the commissioner of the SJHL. We have 12 teams spread out all over this amazing province. 12 teams that hit the road for combined 324 season games. We take hockey players, we make them better. We make them better at hockey and better at life. That's what the SJHL is all about. We have a great league, we have great teams, great ownership, the best fans, the best partners, and the best sponsors.
Sask Energy Network members are the best choice for natural gas solutions for your home or business. With comprehensive services like heating equipment maintenance, appliance installation, and in-store financing, they have natural gas solutions that go beyond heating to bring you the comfort, efficiency, and reliability of natural gas, both indoors and outdoors, all year long. For whole home natural gas solutions, network members burn brighter.
Introducing SaskTel Student Saving Tips. Tip number 236. You could dye your own hair. Or you could save up to $20 a month on a new wireless plan with SaskTel Student Deals.
Enjoying what's around you. That's what it's all about. Farm to table, in season, locally foraged, look out the window and that's exactly what you'll see on your plate. It's the kind of experience that you'll compare everything else to for years to come. And it's so close, you can almost taste it. Indulge in our unlimited lakes and parkland. Saskatchewan.
Original 16. Celebrate things done well.
Welcome back. Oh yeah, it's the new Grinch song. It's true.
I've never heard this.
Me either.
This was in the more recent Grinch movie that was animated that came
Couple
out
years
like
ago?
3 or 4 or 5 years ago.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Benedict Cumberbatch, I think, was
Yeah,
the Grinch.
yes, he was.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who sings that song?
Pharrell Williams.
Oh.
Yeah. We're also going to get copyright strikes on that.
Respectable.
But that's okay.
It's Tyler the Creator.
Oh, is Tyler the creator? Oh, I could have swore it was Pharrell, but Pharrell made it
How
though.
about
We
that
kept it under
sweater?
10 seconds.
Pharrell produced it though.
How about that
Bryce,
sweater
show
from
off
Bryce?
the sweater, Bryce.
Love it.
Yeah,
Look
got
at
a
that.
sloth
Beautiful.
on there, yeah.
A little sloth, a little Christmas sloth.
Yeah.
Love it.
Nothing says Christmas like a sloth, I always say.
And look at Santa in the back there.
There's Santa. Hi, Ryan. All right, let's get to the players of the week. Yes.
Cars.
There we go. I know he was doing stuff because he was just on camera, so he was probably flipping everything back. But there we go. We'll rip through these here now. The SGU MVP of the week. These are already up, by the way, on all the social media channels if you want to go check it out. Ashton Hutchinson. Yes, Ashton, not Aiden. 6 points this week, 2 goals and 2 assists against Humboldt the other day. Really good week for Ashton Hutchinson. A lot of good Melfort Mustangs performances this week. We can only give him a couple awards, though. Actually, just the one. Borgo Forward of the Week, Ethan DK. I'm surprised this is his first time winning an award this year, guys. 6 points this week as well. He's on a 7-game point streak right now. Nugsy said it in the article on the website, probably one of the most dangerous independent players in the entire league right now. And again, surprising, this is his first award so far this year. Probably not his last. Super U Defenseman of the Week, Connor Ryan of the Nipawin Hawks, former Flin Flon Bomber, of course, but he had a great week. 3 goals from the blue line. He's got 6 points in 6 games in December so far, so he's having a great month. And the Nipawin Hawks, accordingly, are winning some games, so good for Connor Ryan. The SaskTel Goalie of the Week, Angelo Zoll of the Weyburn Red Wings, a familiar face in this award category. He had a 2-0 record this week with a 2.0 GAA and a 947 save percentage, and of course a shutout against Kindersley the other day. So great performances from Angelo, as we're used to seeing now so far this season. The IKS Media Rookie of the Week, Thomas Reese of the Yorkton Terriers. 1 game, 3 points. So we don't usually give 1-game players awards, but he had such a good game, we had to. So Thomas Reese, Rookie of the Week there. And Cantera Seeds Saskatchewan Player of the Week, Ashton Tate of the Nipawin Hawks. Again, some big numbers coming out of Nipawin. We talked about they had a big win over Larange. He had 3 of his 5 games in December so far have been multi-point games. So we talked about Ashton Tate coming back from the WHL. He's settling in and he is performing very well. So congrats to all of our winners this week. Do you have something?
I was just say a bunch of players that are all eligible for our redraft coming up in the new year.
Yes.
So tune back in for that.
Stay tuned. Yeah. So we can talk about that another time, but we will be expanding our SJHL fantasy draft. As some players move out and stuff. So after the trade deadline, we're going to do a trade deadline special on location, I hope. Maybe I shouldn't say too much. At a sponsor of ours. I'll just say that. It's all lining up. So we'll be doing the trade deadline recap. And then at the end of that episode, we're going to do our SJHL fantasy compensatory supplemental draft. Yeah. So we're gonna have some fun with that, guys. It's time for one of our favorite, segments of each and every year. It's time to give out our SJHL Christmas presents. There we are.
Wow, way to go!
That's actually pretty awesome.
Clark, that's like seamless there.
That was terrific.
It fits right in.
Way to go, Kelly.
That's actually me. It's not
You'd be a
Photoshopped.
good Santa.
That was actually me too.
Nugsy too.
And Rory.
Rory, you don't fit so much. But that's maybe a compliment.
Because his head is
That's okay. You don't mind.
That was beautiful. Way to go, Kelly. That was great.
I think we'll start. We all picked 4 teams. It wasn't like given to us. We kind of just picked our teams as we went. But let's just go like alphabetical order. And I know it's not going to be the order of which, like you might have 2 in a row or whatever. But let's just start with the Battlefords North Stars. Rory, I believe that's you, isn't it?
Oh boy, you're starting with me. That's okay. I like this one. I like this Christmas gift. And I will preface all of my picks because I went a little differently this year. And Christmas is a time getting together, right? Hanging out with friends and family.
Yeah.
And a lot of friends and families like to play board games, right? So I went exclusively board games for my gifts for all of my 4 teams that I picked, so they can get together and enjoy, a little competition, a little camaraderie, and some board games. So for the Battlefords North Stars, I gave them the game of Clue, because I'm still really trying to figure out who they are. They've alternated wins and losses for the last 8 games. 1 win, 1 loss, 1 win, 1 loss. 8 games. Second place in the league, division champions, all good, +1 goal differential. I really don't know what the Battlefords North Stars are, except they are able to win the hard games more often than not. So, with the game of Clue, are they Colonel Mustard with the candlestick in the bathroom, or are they Mr. Green with the wrench in the ballroom?
I was going to say Justin Merrick in the trainer's room with the skate sharpener.
Well, nobody knows. Nobody knows who they are. But if you play the game long enough, you can start to see the clues.
Yes, of course.
And maybe start to introduce yourself and figure out patterns to who they are. So the game of Clue for the Battlefield North Stars.
I like that. Good job, Rory. Good start. Estevan's up next. That's me. Now, one thing I always say, in the modern era of Christmas presents, it's always nice to give somebody a practical present, something that they can maybe develop or learn a new skill. Or something along those lines, instead of just a trinket or a gadget or gizmo that they might lose or stop using after a couple weeks. This is a lifelong skill I'm talking about. So for Estevan, I thought I would give them tickets or coupons or something to pottery lessons.
Oh, okay.
So you go, you learn how to make pots, because they are last in the league for goals, and they need to start potting some more goals. So I'm thinking if you give them pottery lessons, they might start potting some more goals. So there you go. For Estevan, that's what I would give them.
It's hard. It's a hard skill to do.
Yes, it is very hard. Both scoring goals and making pots.
Great point.
But if they learn, who knows? So that's what I'm giving them. I don't know who's next here.
Let's just go to Nugsy, his top one.
Flinflon?
I have Flinflon, but we'll just go to Nugsy.
The funny thing about this alphabetical idea
is
that all my
go
teams
for a
start
while.
with M or N.
So it's good. So now that I'm thinking about it.
Nugsy's highest alphabetical
Nugsy, who you got? Melfort?
Melville. Well, Melfort is probably. We have to go all the way to the F in Melfort to be higher than the V in Melville. So I guess we'll go with Melfort. The defending champs, they deserve to be talked about. There you go. I don't really think they need much. What I will give the Melfort Mustangs is a brand new hotel.
Oh.
And the reason why I'm going to give them a brand new hotel is because in the finals last year, we had a heck of a time finding hotel rooms. So that is all I can think of.
So you're thinking they're going to make it to the finals again?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying that if they're going to go on a long playoff run, they're going to have people coming and visiting Melfort.
Sure.
They're going to need another hotel, because the amount that they had, I don't know what else was going on in Melfort, but it was a heck of a time finding hotel rooms. So giving Melfort a new hotel.
Maybe a couple RVs.
Expensive gift.
Yeah, I'm going very expensive for the most part.
Nugsy's adding to the infrastructure.
There was
of the
no
city.
money limit, so I'm just going high.
There you go. Rory, who you got next?
Board game
Flinflon?
look like.
What happened to our budget here? I thought it was like a $50 budget.
Well, you're going to be disappointed with my gifts then.
Oh, boy.
I guess alphabetically for me, A, B, C, D, E, it's F. Flinflon Bombers. I'm sticking with board games. We kind of prefaced it a bit, but the Flinflon Bombers are getting the game of Risk.
Oh.
And I don't know if they want to be Ukraine, right? Just like off Seinfeld. But we saw them take some risks heading into the trade deadline last year. And it's all about if Flinflon wants to play again. Because Risk, it can take some time. It can take some time to develop. And we saw that maybe some pieces took longer to develop in with the game of Risk and Flin Flon last year. So it's a game that, you really got to be committed to play start to finish.
Yeah, take
and
it on
will
a
the
bus
Flin Flon
sometimes.
Bombers want to play another game of Risk? So they're getting the board game of Risk.
I like it. Okay, I think I'm next then. I'm going to go with Kindersley. And I talked about practical gifts, right? So I'm going to give them one as well. Anger management courses. They lead the league in penalties. And I thought, it'd be nice. It's almost like an intervention. Let's bring Clayton Jardine in and say, Clayton, we're all your friends here, and we just want to help you. So you are the most penalized team. So I thought either that or a coupon for foot massages because they shoot themselves in the foot all the time with the penalties that they take. Sorry, guys, but that's
hey, he's just looking out for you.
I don't know if you shoot yourself in the foot. I don't know if massaging
massaging is probably not going to help.
Right. Probably not. They might need a trip to the ER if that's the case.
I'm no expert.
But you can't give coupons to the hospital,
That's
so
good.
It is what it is.
Not in Canada.
Anyways, that's what I'm going with. And again, I don't think they have anger issues. They just lead the league in penalty minutes. That's all.
I love it.
So there we go. Nugsy, let's go with Melville.
Sure, yeah. Well, so I'm going to give them an all-expense-paid trip to Mexico.
Jesus.
So again, lots of money.
Jacob, where are we getting this budget from?
Jacob's working hard, director of marketing, to make sure that my budget is big. I talked to him on our road trip to Estevan
UPL
into
and
giving him a big
Gantera
budget
really
for these
stepping
gifts.
it up here.
So Jacob's got my back. He's always had my back, and he's a beauty. Melville, as I said, all-expense-paid trip to Mexico because nothing gives you some time for some perspective like a little all-expense-paid trip. You just lay on the beach and you can think about what's going on. And I think they've got a very good team. They've got a coach that wins, has won all the time here in the SJHL over his time. So just keep your perspective. I know, you know who is gone. You still got lots of talent. You still got lots of time. The season is not lost.
Why are we saying his name?
Just stick together, and you'll be totally fine. Don't panic. Don't worry too much. Just get some perspective. Lie on that beach, eat some lobster, and you'll be fine.
Love that. Rory, I think you're up. You got your Humboldt Broncos.
The Humboldt Broncos, they're getting the board game Perfection. Now, if you've ever played this game, it's the one where there's 25 different shapes of pieces, and the board's a square, and then you got to put them into all different the 25 slots in 60 seconds because the thing will go down, and if you don't get them all in, it goes poof, and all the pieces pop out.
Do you remember the jingle?
No.
Put the pieces into the slot, make the right selection, but be quick, you're racing the clock. Pop goes Perfection.
It's a very frustrating game when you don't get the pieces in the right spot.
Guys.
Copyright.
And sometimes
now we're getting copyrighted. Imagine if that's the only thing we get copyrighted for today. That'd be hilarious.
And sometimes you think you have the right piece, but it's just not quite right. And then you're looking on the board and you don't really know where to get it. And if you can't get it in time, then it all blows up. And it's hard to get all 25 pieces, very similar to a hockey team, into the right spots. And we think that Humboldt has the right pieces, or maybe just a piece short here and a piece short here. But if you find that piece and put it in the right spot, now there's only 24. It's a lot easier to get that guy into the right spot, to get that guy into the right spot. But there's a time crunch. We're looking at a roster deadline. We're looking at a trade deadline coming up on January 10th. We think that Humboldt has the right pieces. They got to get them in the right spot, and they got to do it in time because some of these players are playing in spots that maybe are asking too much. And if you just get the things right, and boop, 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 then you win at Perfection. And Humboldt's getting Perfection.
All right.
There you go. I like that a lot. And again, that was one of my favorite board games growing up, Rory. So thanks for the nostalgia
stressful.
blast.
It helps you battle stress in the future, I'll tell you that.
It was stress-inducing.
It's crazy
and I was like
stressful.
7 years old, and I was like, this is crazy. Anyways, I'm kind of in a similar theme, I guess, with my gift for L'Orange. And I'm giving them Tinker Toys. Remember Tinker Toys? It's like the little things that you can like stick
Remember Tinker Town?
Tinker Toys. Yeah, it's basically you
I
build
love
stuff.
Tinkerbell.
It's not Tinkerbell. Again, it's copyright strikes, guys. Disney's gonna kill us. But Tinker Toys, it's like you build little things and there's like sticks you stick into little blocks and then eventually, and you need to maybe move one out here, move one in there. So I'm thinking for L'Orange, I think they're a Tinker Toy away, maybe one little roster Tinker away from just being a little bit over the hump. I think they're right there. Obviously, we look at the parity throughout the league this year, and it's like there's a big block right here, and I think L'Orange is right in the middle of it right now. But we talked about it with Graham. They have a lot of good pieces right now, and if they just added like one perfect little one it would make the Tinker Toy complete. So I'm going to give them Tinker Toys. Again, I'm playing with the budget I was given. I wasn't given the trips to Mexico budget or like a hotel. So Tinker Toys it is. The retro style ones.
There you go.
There you go.
Look at Newsy. He looks like a guy that can afford it.
Well, yeah, he owns a QMJ Chelsea.
Little Jacques Newberry needs somewhere to play hockey.
Newsy, you're up. I think you have Notre Dame?
Sure. Yeah, sure. Notre Dame, yes. I'm going to give, this is again breaking the budget, but whatever.
Oh, no.
I'm going to give them my dream truck, the Ford F-150 Raptor.
Wow.
It is a big truck. They still haven't won 2 games in a row all year. The Hounds do. They have 8 wins, but haven't won 2 in a row. So they need a bigger truck to get over the hump. Of that little bit of consistency.
A little bit of off-roading 4x4
They get up to the
action.
top, they play well, and then they find a way to lose the game there at the end. They've played well most nights. They just need a bigger truck to get over the hump. And we'll see what happens with Ethan Hamilton, whether he can be a big addition. But just like to see them. And I think the Ford F-150 Raptor is a beautiful truck. So giving my boys a nice truck.
Also, Clark, I'm not sure what kind of trips you go on when you go to Mexico, but a Ford Raptor truck is much more expensive.
Well, now that
than a trip to Mexico, just to let you know.
I'm going all
You're like, oh, that's not bad.
You said all
That's
expenses.
about $89,000. It's all right.
And of course I'm biased.
You said all expenses paid. So I don't know. Who knows what kind of expenses I'm getting into in Mexico. I just want to point out Marley Shepard said that my singing of that jingle was impressive. So thank you, Marley.
Austin Shepard's mom.
Yeah, thank you, Marley. Last
one for me.
You up?
Last one for me. Weyburn Red Wings. I had to pivot early today because I didn't like what I did. Once again, shout out to Assiniboia and for Weyburn Red Wings for getting that together. But I'm giving Weyburn just your classic, and you can have it in glass or in marble or whatever you want if you want to go higher end. Probably won't be as expensive as Newsy's gifts, but a chess set.
A chess set.
A nice chess set for the Weyburn Red Wings. Because when you're a kid, often more than not, the first game out of the 2 you don't learn is chess. You'll learn checkers first, right?
Yeah.
And the often saying is, well, you're playing checkers, not chess. Or this guy's playing chess and they're playing checkers. Well, we've seen the growth of the Weyburn Red Wings over the past 2 years. We've seen players in the lineup grow through, especially from last year to this year, but even from the year before to last year. 5-game loss in the playoffs against Battlefords. 7 games against Humboldt. Almost had that series going to the second round. Weyburn is ready to play chess, and they've been playing it from the start of the finish to the end. They're no longer playing checkers. They are a contender. They're serious. They're adult, and they're playing chess. Chess set.
I like that. That's fantastic.
And also should say shout out to Weyburn because Cody Mapes messaged me and he asked whether we were doing the Christmas gifts today or at some point, and I said yes. And thank you for asking, and thanks for paying attention. And backed by popular demand.
Did he get back to you on what he had on his Christmas list?
No, but he said he could use some healthy players because I think tomorrow they're pretty shorthanded against Yorkton tomorrow. So
that's kind of on theme with mine. So I'm going to go with Yorkton for my last one, and I kind of went video game style. You know, when you're in an adventure style video game and you're in a forest fighting a bunch of monsters or something, and you're like, oh man, I'm almost going to die here.
Sorry, what team is this again?
Yorkton.
I'm playing Hogwarts right now. It's very similar.
Okay,
Good
so
game.
so let's say you're battling some friggin' things.
Expelliarmus.
Yeah, and you're low on health. And what do? You go into your inventory, you pop a health potion. So I'm giving the Yorkton Terriers a health potion. Health has probably been their biggest issue this year. Just making sure guys are healthy, keeping guys in the lineup. Jeff Hammond comes to mind. Some other guys. They've had guys in and out. Tate Chauffeur. So I'm saying I'm going to give them a health potion and just say, hey, just stay healthy for a little while.
Who knows how expensive those are? You guys are chirping.
Yeah,
for the
I think
cost.
they're $89,000
Potions are pretty expensive.
and $100.
Who knows?
There are 100 coins in the game I'm playing right now.
So I'm on budget then.
Gold
for sure.
coins.
I'm on budget. Yeah, you're right. With the price of gold these days, who knows? But yeah, I'm giving Yorkton a health potion from your favorite video game, and that's what I'm going with for Yorkton. So there you go.
I got one more.
Yeah, you're it. You're done.
All right, the Nipawin Hawks. The Nipawin Hawks. And don't get mad at me, Nipawin. Don't get mad.
Please
because
get
your
mad
gift
at
is
him.
a little bit cheaper. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but it's what I thought
not
of.
about the price tags.
Exactly. It's about the heart.
Yeah.
I'm giving the Nipawin Hawks a very fancy clock with a coffee maker and all the gizmos and gadgets. So it's a very nice clock. So
with a
it's not
coffee
like
maker.
$90,000.
Would it be a coffee maker with a clock or a clock with a coffee maker?
It's a clock with a coffee maker.
I'd say a bit of column A, a bit of column B. Sure. The average age of the Nipawin Hawks is 18.91, which is very low, but they are figuring it out, so they just need that time, that patience to continue on this path. They have continued on that path. They've done a great job. The patience is paying off now. They got a great goalie in Nathan Clayton, and both him and Roberts have been good. So just a little bit of patience and maybe some caffeine to quick start that continuous growth into 2025 as well as we've seen.
Caffeine stunt your
lately.
growth?
So there you go.
I could see
Does caffeine stunt growth?
Just within moderation.
Just be careful with the caffeine.
I could see Nugsy buying the gift for Jill and being like, honey, it's a clock with a coffee maker. And she's like, it's a coffee maker.
The time
it's a clock with a coffee maker.
The time is the emphasis.
Holy
the
cow.
time is the emphasis.
I get it.
But just don't be like me because I accidentally bought a $74 candle a couple days ago. Don't be like me.
Wasn't that supposed to be a Christmas gift?
Did it have Bitcoin in it?
Yeah, but I already gave it to her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And she also doesn't really watch SJHL Weekly, so it's okay.
Fair enough. So just to recap, Nugsy's gifts went from millions of dollars for a hotel to a very expensive, probably $90,000 trip to Mexico, then an $89,000 truck, and then a coffee maker with a clock on it.
I've never seen a clock with a coffee maker, so it can be pretty expensive.
Maybe it's made of gold. It might be a golden.
There you go.
Anyway.
It's like Fidel Castro's coffee maker.
Holy cow. We just opened up a whole can. Let's move on from the Cuban Missile Crisis.
Jacques Newberry has lost it.
Yeah, Jacques, you got to keep it under wraps here. But guys, we talked with Graham Brown about Christmas traditions. Let's just wrap it up there. Nugsy, what are some Christmas traditions or foods or things that you like to do each and every year?
Yeah, well, as a Jewish person, I celebrate Christmas and Hanukkah. Mm-hmm. And obviously for Hanukkah, that means latkes, which are like the fried potato pancakes with the oil. And I guess I'll ask you guys, the traditional thing to eat with latkes is either sour cream or applesauce, or you have them both on your plate. But do you guys think you'll be in would you be on team applesauce
I'd be
or
a
team sour cream
guy, I think. Yeah, sour cream for me, because it'd be like a baked potato almost.
I would love to try the applesauce, but I'm a huge sour cream guy. Like on taco, like anything, pierogies.
Middle name sour cream.
It is Rory Sour Cream McGouran.
Yeah. Put in the comments whether
I think I'd be team sour cream.
Put in the comments whether you're team sour cream or team applesauce with the potato pancakes.
Chris MacArthur from Flin Flon says, did you guys spike your eggnog before the show?
We're being entertaining.
Nugsy, can you tell everybody about your recipe for hot butter rum or whatever?
So excited.
I love hot buttered rum. Yeah,
hot buttered rum.
Hot buttered rum is delicious.
I want to try it.
You get yourself some butter. You put a bunch of brown sugar on it, obviously, and then you have a bunch of spices, some cinnamon, some nutmeg, some cloves, some powdered ginger. You mix it all together. You put like a couple tablespoons of that, maybe a tablespoon of cream, maybe a shot of rum, some boiled water, put some nutmeg on top, bing, bang, boom. Best Christmas holiday seasonal drink.
So it's like a play on eggnog, kind of.
Well, except way better.
But way better.
Okay.
Apparently.
Hot buttered rum.
Rory, do you have any traditions or things that you like getting into every year?
Yeah, it is different since, obviously my girlfriend and the kids as well for the last couple of years. It's a Polish family, so the food has changed and amazing. The beet rolls, the naleśniki, the cabbage roll. Oh,
Great pronunciation.
The food is amazing.
Gesundheit.
On the 24th, we do all the big, 13 different kind of appetizer dish.
Yeah.
Go to church at night. And then Santa comes during that time. So we open presents actually the night of the 24th.
Oh, cool.
Which is different than the way I grew up, but it's all about family, it's all about love, and that's who I want to spend it with. So
that's great.
That's what's important to me.
Shout out to Megan. Thanks for the Christmas tin, by the way, Megan. I feel bad that I didn't get Rory anything outside.
I gave him
a
Neugebauer today.
Did you eat your cookies from?
I did. They were super delicious. Way to go, Megan. Thank you so much.
Were they gluten-free?
Well, I hope so.
We got him gluten-free.
Nice.
You have lots of gluten in yours.
Plenty of gluten.
I sure hope mine were gluten-free.
You'll find out. For me, it's just, again, family. My dad's a big Scotch guy, so we usually have one, cup of Scotch kind of thing. Not a cup of Scotch. But,
he has a little Paw Patrol plastic cup with Scotch in it.
You never know.
Chris MacArthur thinks you might have had a cup of Scotch before the show today.
You never know how the night ends up going, but it's usually about a good nice glass of Scotch and I've just gotten into that recently because I couldn't do it before, and now in the last couple of years I've gotten into it. So eggnog's a big one for us, and then my mom always makes Christmas cookies. We did that already though. We do a Christmas cookie thing, like a decorating day, and then she always makes really good like mixes. You know, like the like nuts and bolts and ranch mix, and she's big into that poppycock. I don't know if I can say that on the air, but you know, like caramel popcorn. You know, caramel popcorn with all the nuts and stuff in it. It's amazing. So that's usually our Christmas and family gathering. So hoping, we're wishing all of you that you get to enjoy your traditions and stuff this year. Get out with your family. There's a couple of games before that all happens though, so let's have a look at the schedule. Now this one is missing a game, obviously, with the Weyburn reschedules, the Assiniboia and stuff. So Weyburn, is it Yorkton? Weyburn plays Yorkton tomorrow night, I think. Is that correct?
Yorkton,
so that's not on here. It's in Assiniboia. I think it's at 7:30, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong on that. But Nipawin plays in Flin Flon. 7:30? Yep. And Melfort plays in Notre Dame. And then on Wednesday, Melville is in Notre Dame. So Notre Dame gets the Mels this week. And then there's a game on Thursday, but we'll talk about that. On Thursday's episode of SJHL Insider, me and Nugsy will be back for that. That will be the last broadcast before the Christmas break for any of us. And then we will be back on January 6th for this show, and January, whatever the Thursday is. The 10th? I don't know.
January, whatever the Thursday is.
Whatever the Thursday is. So we'll be back with regular broadcasts on January the 6th. So again, huge shout out to everybody across the league. Halfway through the season, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all around the province. Thanks for tuning in today and watching. For everyone here at IKS, for Rory and Jamie, and for Jacob Faith, who's over there hanging out, for Ryan and Bryce in the back room. There they are. Thanks, gentlemen. And we will wrap this up here. It's a Christmas pun. There you go. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. We'll see you.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
We'll see you in the new year. Thanks, Santa.